This teenager dropped out of high school, sang clients from his bedroom, and only within a few years is filming business advice from luxury villas in Dubai. He has over 5 million subscribers and is worth an estimated 40 million US dollars. It sounds like the perfect rags to riches story, but was it really raw hustle that built his empire, or a carefully crafted image designed to sell the dream? Today we dig into the rise of Iman Gadzhi and find out how he truly made his money. Iman paints his own story with a picture of struggle. He was born in 2000 in a small town in southern Russia. His father, he said in multiple interviews, was an abusive alcoholic who left before he was born. That left his mother to raise him on her own. And he frequently recalls times when money was tight, when the family felt stretched, and when he was determined to change their future. It's this version of events that forms the emotional backbone of his own brand. The kid who started with nothing yet fought his way up. When he was a child, he and his mother moved to London, and in his telling they arrived with very little. He describes watching her work long hours and feeling a deep responsibility to one day repay her. Those moments, he says, shaped his hunger for success. But when we dig deeper, reports from outlets like Legit NG and analysis from business commentators such as Spencer Cornelia point out that the story may not be quite as stark as Iman sometimes suggests. According to these accounts, his mother married a wealthy stepfather during his early years in the UK. That stepfather's presence gave him access to private education, schools with tuition fees that contradict the idea of growing up with nothing. Cornelia even highlighted school records and lifestyle details, suggesting that, far from living on the edge, Iman was actually enjoying holidays abroad and the kinds of comforts that don't align with the hardship narrative. When his mother's marriage eventually ended, reports show money did become much tighter. But as Iman always focuses images of poverty, records suggest at least periods of privilege. And so, even before his business career began, we can see how narrative and reality can diverge. For Iman, childhood isn't just childhood. It's the opening act to his brand story. The very first taste of entrepreneurial success came in his mid-teens, when a local football club in London let him manage their social media. He was posting photos and updates, but at £300 a month, it was the first validation that someone would hand him money for a skill he taught himself. That was enough to build confidence. Within 7 months, he managed to pick up a handful of small clients, eventually taking his monthly income up to over £4,000. For a teenager, that wasn't just side money. That was a salary. It gave him the boldness to drop out of school entirely. He saw no point in traditional education anymore, and instead poured everything into his new business, which he would soon call IAG Media. IAG Media positioned itself as a boutique digital marketing agency, working mostly with fitness professionals and local businesses at first. The promise was simple but appealing. Iman and his team would handle your social media, run ads, and help you reach more customers online. And the timing couldn't have been any better. It was around 2016, and businesses were just beginning to understand how powerful Instagram and Facebook advertising could be, and the social media marketing agency model wasn't as saturated as today. But here's where the story takes a turn. While Iman often highlights IAG Media as a foundation of his success, critics have pointed out that the company doesn't appear to have lasted long in its original form. Business records show that it was dissolved within only a year, which raised questions about whether the agency was as successful as its marketing later suggested. Others have noted that when he talks about scaling his own agency, he often skips over hard numbers or client case studies, leaning instead heavily on storytelling. And that's the real breakthrough. While the agency may have opened doors, the business that truly made him wealthy was online education. He recognized that there were far more people who wanted to start an agency than there were businesses willing to hire one. So instead of running ads for local gyms or e-commerce stores, he pivoted to teaching others how to do what he claimed he had already done. That pivot became GrowYourAgency.com, his online education platform. Its flagship course, Agency Incubator, promised to teach students how to launch and grow their own six-figure digital marketing agency. The pricing was high, sometimes thousands of dollars, but that was part of the positioning. High tickets meant exclusivity, and exclusivity meant credibility. If people paid more, they would assume it was more valuable. This was the real engine of his fortune. Courses can be created once and sold infinitely. His YouTube videos, email sequences, and ads brought in leads constantly. His personal brand exploded. He leaned heavily into YouTube, starting his channel in 2015 and gradually shifting it into a platform where he shows his lifestyle, routines, and his thoughts on business. His videos weren't just testimonials, they were aspirational marketing pieces. In one clip, he might be walking through a luxury apartment in Dubai, and another he's breaking down how he spends his day, positioning himself as a mentor figure to anyone who wanted to be like him. The lifestyle content definitely wasn't an accident. According to media analysis like Citizen X and Transition Debates, it became one of his strongest strategies. The cars, the watches, the private jets, they weren't just purchases, they were advertisements. They served as proof, or at least as appearance of proof that his methods worked. And to his credit, it did. Thousands of students bought into his courses. His YouTube channel attracts millions of viewers. He leveraged that audience into even more products, from mentorship programs to investments into real estate and crypto. By his mid-20s, he wasn't just running a business, he was running a system, a brand, a funnel, a lifestyle machine that turned attention into dollars. Whether you view that as brilliant entrepreneurship or just clever packaging depends on your perspective. But what's clear is that the agency gave him the initial story, but the education business gave him the wealth. His true breakthrough wasn't from running ads for clients, it was from selling the idea to anyone who dreamed of freedom. We also can't ignore his experiments outside of the agency and education space. During the crypto boom, Iman's NFT projects, Dance Cricket Club, generated hype but quickly fizzled, echoing in criticism that his brand leans more into an image than execution. To some, the jets, watches, and villas are manipulative props designed to sell courses at a premium. To others, they're motivational symbols, proof that someone young and ambitious can defy convention and live life on their own terms. Iman has acknowledged the criticism. In a YouTube video responding to the scam allegations, he argued that while not everyone who buys his courses will succeed, the system he teaches are legitimate. He put the responsibility back on the student. The tools are there, but the execution is up to you. Beyond his courses and the agency narrative, Iman has steadily layered on other products and ventures. Each one tied to his brand, but each met with his own reception. One of his first products was Gadzhi, launched in 2019, a lifestyle line of blue light blocking glasses and apparel. The idea was to build a product that entrepreneurs and digital workers could use daily, a way of protecting your eyes and adopting this performance lifestyle. However, over time, the brand seemed to have faded into the background. It doesn't generate much conversation today, and critics argue that it was more of a vanity project than a serious business. And there's little transparency about revenue or whether the line is still active in any meaningful way. Next came Flozy, a software platform meant to streamline the operation of digital agencies, automating tasks, managing clients, simplifying reporting. But here too, the story is mixed. Flozy hasn't grown into a household name in the SaaS world, and most of its visibility comes from Iman's own channels. It exists, but it hasn't broken into mainstream adoption. His biggest extension has been Educate.io, launched in 2023. This is essentially the rebranded version of his education business, broadening it beyond just agencies to cover other monetizable skills: copywriting, sales, content creation, personal branding. Here the strategy is clearer. Rather than only sell the agency dream, he's positioning himself as the head of a modern online business school. But once again, the criticism comes down to expectation versus reality. Some students find the structure motivating and the community helpful. Others say the material is recycled, that it sells a lifestyle more than delivering a unique strategy, and that the high ticket price point locks up many who can't afford to risk thousands. More recently, Iman launched Big Day, an electrolyte drink brand tied to his health routines and disciplined messaging. The brand leans heavily on his personal image, a high-performance entrepreneur who optimizes every part of his day. Beyond products, he's also tied his brand to philanthropy. Through Village Impact, he has helped fund construction schools in Nepal. His website claims as of 2023, 5 schools have been built, and that Educate staff even ran marathons to raise funds. More recently, in 2024, he partnered with Lights of Love in South Africa to provide meals for underprivileged children. There's no questioning that he built real wealth. with Educate.io as the cornerstone and other products like Big Day, Flozy and Gadzhi as experiments branching off. Some ventures faded quickly while others are still growing. So what do we make of all this? Perhaps the more important lesson isn't whether every part of Iman's story is flawless or whether every product has thrived. It's the reminder that in the modern world, stories sell just as much as systems. A polished underdog narrative can be just as powerful as a set of business tactics. And online education can be life-changing for some while feeling hollow to others. The real takeaway might be this: success in the digital economy often lies not only in what you build, but in how you package it, how you present it, and how much people believe in the version of story you tell. And that's where Iman Gadzhi excels. He has mastered storytelling, just as much as entrepreneurship. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more real story breakdowns of financial success.